Holy shit. jogging fast. Oh my God. When I talk to my doctor and he says, what exercise are you doing? I'm gonna tell him I'm dancing. Thank you, I love you guys too. too. I am a fatty. You don't want to mess with me. These are only pound weight. But when you go really fast, keep your muscles. Holy cow. This area, elbow area, sore. Sweating. Oh my God. That was called Project. These are all Patrick Patricios. Oh my God. One more. This is called All Stars. Wait. Trying to make a star. It's not really working. This looks so weird. Oh, I don't care what people say. Don't block anyone and don't delete messages. This is what us Seattleans do, but I'm 2 hours from there, and I'm a Midwesterner, so don't worry. What? It's not over. It's not over. Is it over? It just ended. Okay, this next one's called Dude, and then I'm really gonna be done. Thank you. Yeah, body goal. You can tip your hostess with the mostess if you want. Yes, you're damn right. Minnesota Vikings. At least there's definition. I may not have it. Oh, ton of muscle. Let's see how much I have. I got a bruise. See, this is what you get to look forward to. Everything going. Oh my God, I haven't done that in a while. Tree pose on your knees. Okay, that's it. That's gotta be it. All right, one more. Happy-go-lucky. This is called Diggy. Diggy. was fun. All right, one more. What on earth? I hope this gets faster. Oh, Lord. Oh my God. Okay, I gotta do one more because I want to enter the. Clap with me. I've gotten 200 subs in the last 2 weeks, and I'm tooting my own horn. Actually, if you're sitting, you're not very mobile, you can move your hands and arms. Like this. our Paris. Is this Paris? Paris, I mean? Okay, that's it. I'm getting carried away now. Oh, I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 songs. Let me star them so I never play them again, because oh no, there. My tremors are so bad. Hi everybody, that when I was pouring my coffee into the thing, I usually have to have 2 hands on the pot, and I'll have this one kind of on the lid, and it kind of went in my hand. Not horrible, I didn't get burned, I pulled it away, really just a couple drops. So I was just like, I mean, I've been dealing with these since 1989, right? So my whole life. So I graduated high school in 80, so that would make me 18 plus 9 is 28, 27 years old, you know, and I'm 63. But the last 5 years, actually since my thalamic stroke, I can dare say they've gotten worse. I mean, it's a gradual, but they're worse. It used to be, they were only noticeable like when I would try to write something. When I write, I have to press down pretty hard, but I'm still able to balance some plates and things. It's probably from waitressing so many years. You know, I know how to line them up and all that, because a lot of times my kids want to eat in their room while they're playing their games and stuff, but it's just, I have to prop my elbows. See my eyeliner? It's all the way across now, so it's more defined, and I don't put anything down here. If you look at my past videos, I think it makes me look a little more fresh, maybe a tad younger, not having extra, do you know what I mean? So, and I like this pink up here. Thank you. Hey, 3 dots here. And today I put on red lipstick. Is that deep or what? You guys want to know what? For the women, I've had this a long time. It's called Raisin Rage. Raisin Rage. 630. It's not matte. I usually wear matte, and it's by Revlon. I mean, look at this. It's deep. It's slightly glossy. So even though it's very red in the mirror, it almost looks like it's got a shining pink tint. I don't know. I can't explain it. But look at, I've used a lot through the years. Anyway, I don't bother with mascara. I did 10 years ago, but now I would have to prop my elbows up on my mirror and do this just to be able to do it without trying to poke my eyes. Thank you. Thanks, Troy boy. He likes my lipstick. So let me see who's all here. And then, of course, I've got just blush on. I don't do foundation. I have a few freckles, you know, a few wrinkles. I don't have see, watch. I don't have the, what's it called on? What is that called? Anyway, watch. You can see my wrinkles in my eyebrows when I go on my forehead. See the wrinkles? See? That's proof that I don't have, uh, the heck is it called, you guys? I don't know. I can't think of the name of it. But because people think I'm just kind of, I don't want to do a makeup tutorial, hun, because my tremors are, it's my hands, watch. When they're limp, it's not quite as bad, but bad enough, right? See how this finger is just stuck out? That's the one I broke or fractured on top and had crushed. And the skin was pulled all the way up. And it was slammed by my son by accident, but he was 161 pounds then. Thank God he's not, 100 and, he's doing really good on his diet. He's gone from 200 down to 188 in 3 weeks. And that's just no sugar and no snacks and watching his carbs. So I'm very proud of him. Hi, Troy boy. I am single. Like I said yesterday, I was with Darren for 8 years, and then right shortly after that ended, I had my fling with you-know-who. People can deny it if they want. I'm being called a YouTube harlot now. Wait, yeah, harlot. I've been called lots of things in my life, but never a harlot. I guess that's pretty nice. I can go with that. So, yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi to my regulars and the new people coming in. And yeah, well, thanks so much. Thank you. When you go through heart disease and you don't even think you're going to experience this till your 70s or 80s, you have to take care of yourself. I get the sleep I need. I buy bottled water now, so I'll drink at least one a day. I'm supposed to probably have 4, but I have 1. And then, I get a little fluid in this coffee, but I hear coffee robs you of your B vitamins. This is why I have straws and everything too. Oh my God, that was so hot. Oh my God. It stays hot in that lid, and I just filled it like half an hour ago. These are all my meds. I shouldn't get in trouble. Every day I have 5, and then I take my vitamin, which is important. We're in Washington State where there isn't a lot of sunshine. We need our vitamin D. Thanks. Rapper's here again. That's nice. Hi to the 63 in the bushes. Welcome, you guys. Oh, all right. I can push this up a little now. See that? See that glare? That light up there drives me nuts. Like it really does. So I put, oops. Oh, and my thing has to be upright like this, or it won't work. Oh, fiddlesticks, I swear. There. So yeah, okay, so who's here? Oh, and just for you guys, I took out my little tiny diamond earrings and put in these red ones. Aren't they nice? I like them. All right, live chat. If I don't say hi to you or see your name or acknowledge you, whoops, shoot, gosh darn it. Now this thing's in the way. It's just because the thing goes up a certain amount. I almost wish I had my fan in here. There's no wind out there. My window's open. So it's not cold today. Okay, well, see, this goes clear back to Yes, Dance All Night by Angie May 7072. Granny's Getting Down. I popped shits and giggles. I popped in When was just the pillow. Thought she was missing something. LOL, that's funny. Good to see you. No big back here, bud. Sin. Sin liked it. CYN. She's fire emojis. You missed her playing Lights on Lights Off. It was so cool. Thanks, Angie May. Well, I don't know. I was near my lights getting ready to go, and I was like, I'm going to move these lights around. I have a little disco ball, you guys, but I don't know. That's a little over the top. That's more for like Christmas or holidays or I don't know, not an everyday thing. Um, oh, that's funny. Listen to David Canham. Did you fall from a vending machine because you're a snack? Okay, that's cute. I actually like that. Thank you. Toot toot MFers. Feisty cooter in chat. I love it. Oh my god, that's funny. Turnt 420. Cooter. Okay. You'd rather call me that than a cougar, I guess. Okay. Oh, Tina, we need to get you some LED lights. Well, I need lots of things. I need cat litter. If anybody wants to, I'm going to grift a little bit now and then. Everybody else does it. Except a lot of times they just stick things up on the top, right? Send money to my travel fund. Give me this on my wish list. And the other people put up goals, right? I noticed. And I don't pin all that stuff up. For one, I don't really know how. I mean, I could watch a little video on it, try to remember all the steps. I have a notebook full of notes on how to do things. So I'm just going to kind of throw it out there now and then. If you want to become a member, you're a, what are you first? Well, you're a guinea pig, and then you're a cat later on, because guinea pigs I used to have 2 at once for 13 years. And they're always males together, so they don't fight or do the impregnation thing, right? And then, as most people know, I have 3 kittens that are now a little over 2 years old. And, well, thank you, Truth Seeker. I also noticed that people have their mods put in their Cash App and PayPal, and that would really be nice. I don't know, Truth Seeker, or if Mary Jane Doe's in here still. I haven't seen her name because I haven't been through all the comments yet, but if you want to put that in, I can tell you what it is. Now and then in chat, it's, oh, let me make sure I get this right. Okay, Cash App is at, yeah, and it is on my channel. All of this is on my channel, on my info part, I think. My Cash App is at Dakota, with a capital D, like South Dakota. Dakota Dame. Dame is capital D. And then I think they're separated, I'm pretty sure. And then my birth date, 0627, the first part of it. If it was the whole thing, it would be 062762, but it's not. So at Dakota Dame, because like I said, I'm a Midwesterner at heart, in my spirit, in my soul, especially while my family was over there in the Midwest, and now they're passed, of course, so including my sister, but she's like down, or she was down south in Missouri. Now that she's passed away, I'm going to go ahead and say right here, I never know what I'm going to say on here. It's all ad lib. These lives aren't planned except for my topics and my videos. But she lived in Moberly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the last time I saw that town, we had a reunion. Gosh, I was with Joe. Parker was 6. And we drove there first and then on to Iowa. It was small. People made the joke where if you blink, like when you're going over the bridge or something, to get into the town, you'll miss it. Now, right? I mean, Parker's 30, so we're talking 24 years later. It's probably expanded, right? And advanced in many ways, but I don't know. So that was the last time I was in Moberly 24 years ago. Now, my sister did go to Iowa. When I would go to Iowa for the reunions, there were a couple of them. And then as people got older, but I was here, semi stuck here in Washington State, um, there were two or three reunions. One before my sister's, my mom's sister passed away. And then another one my dad was able to make it to. And then another one. And I got pictures, all right, because my mom she doesn't do all that phone picture stuff. Like, never has. So I have Polaroids of the reunions because she wanted me to see how people are growing. I got to see how my cousins are doing and growing and getting older and bigger and what their faces look like now. And it's truly amazing. But there were three reunions I couldn't make it to. Um, mainly, mainly because money doesn't stop people from seeing family. Like it just, I mean, it can. Well, I guess it can. But for me, it was going through my divorce and dealing with before that moving all the time with my ex-husband. Literally, and I'm not just saying this. I counted them up. We lived in 10 different places the first 8 years of our marriage. I'll see if I can remember right now. First, we were in Sudden Valley, which is a beautiful area up in the hills, 25 minutes or so from where I am. Living at his mother's house. We were there for like a year. Then we moved into town and we lived in these Cambridge apartments over by Ferry for 1 year. And then we moved into an apartment area on Ferry near my friend Teresa, who I've known since 1991. Okay, that's three right there. Three different places to live. Then, when my son was 3, we moved to Linden, Washington. And it's a very Dutch, it's a complete Dutch town. It has a windmill and they do not Nordic Fest, but whatever those things are called. And they have clog dancing and parades, and they make these little teeny, they look like pancakes the size of this, and they start with the letter P, and I don't know. But living in Linden when Parker was small and I was married, we did a lot of really fun things. So we lived in an apartment in Linden, and then my ex tried to buy a house and it had a beautiful view of Mount Baker. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. This white, big Mount Baker mountain that has snow on it, and especially the top all year long. And it was right out you step out the front door and it was right there to the left down the driveway. And it was beautiful. But this house, hi 3 Dot, thank you for being here. Nice to see you. Always, everybody that visits me, I'm just sharing a little bit of my past and my history so that people can kind of get to know like how busy my life used to be. And now I'm just kind of in an apartment with a channel trying to make ends meet, and my son's issues are more intense, but life is one day at a time, and that's all I can do. And then my daughter, she's doing the best she can. So, and so I don't know what's being said in chat, but I always watch back my lives and I'll see everything, okay? Okay, so we literally, he put $500 down. I mean, it was called something, so they would save it so we could move in. And we moved in like the day before Christmas, because I have a picture of our tree up in front of it. We had a real fireplace, and it was a darling house. But it was falling apart. It was like from the 70s, and or no, 50s, because it was the 90s then. And there was a big hole in the bathroom near the toilet, which had to be done. And it was one of these rambler houses. I kind of liked the, what is that called? Oh, the wallpaper. It was kind of fuzzy and had flowers, and it was very 70s like, or 50s or 60s. Of course, Joe didn't, and I don't blame him. So we would have changed up all that. So one day, oh my God, you're going to make me freaking cry. That is so nice of you. Thank you, Jennifer Main. Oh my God. Oh shit, maybe I wasn't supposed to say your name. Damn it. I'm so sorry. I just got a notification. It says Jennifer paid you $40 for your cats. That will buy me. Jesus. Oh, my litter. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you like a cutie. Thank you. Oh my God. They're $8 a thing, and I have to get 4. So that's at 32, and then there's tax. That'll cover my litter. I was supposed to go tomorrow, but I don't get my Social Security until the next day. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. Now, because you sent that, you reminded me I didn't blurt my PayPal out here. I'm just going to do it, not because of that. I'm just, like to have them both in, because everyone else grifts. I guess I'm a grifter. I guess I'm a grifter now, like everyone else. I'm just not as bad. Anyway, my PayPal is $ paper cut Tina, capital PAPER. Cut might be capital or it might be small. Now I can't remember. Is that it? Oh my God, I just can't even remember. I think that's it. I think it's just $ paper cut Tina. Oh, thank you, like a cutie. I think my PayPal is $ paper cut Tina. Clearly made an impact. I mean, this is a thing, you guys. I separate my emotions from everything, and I think it's something you learn to do as you get older. I'm not emotional because my sister passed roughly a week ago. Well, it was on the 15th, and what is it? The 28th. So 8 days ago. And my mom last February, and and then dealing with the past 3 days of me coming out in great detail because people were bashing me and still calling me delusional and making up stories, including herself. So for 3 days, I've been sort of fighting to let my voice be heard. I knew it wouldn't bother Jimmy that much. I mean, you guys, look. I've been actually peeking over it at each live to see if he was going to bring me up and unvalidate my truth. He hasn't, has he? And you know why? Because he did genuinely care for me. And he knows I have a special needs son. And I was part of his channel. I wasn't just someone in a in his chat, you know. And when I say that we were friends after I got back, we stayed in touch, also in intimate ways. That's why I renamed it Liaison or whatever, my other video, the 2 days ago or whatever. That's what it is. I looked up the meaning of liaison and it was interesting. It means intimate, private, something concepts. Oh, Sierra's here too. That's so nice. Hi, everybody. I mean, I guess I won't necessarily go back right now in the chat because I've been crying and talking, and Bluebird says otherwise he would have stepped up forward. Yes, yes. If I was crazy and delusional, you know, the way this Coco lady likes to call me every little chance she gets, I mean, we're talking for like, Bill, it's been 2.5 years. This August will be 3, but I started watching his channel months before that. We're going on like the whole me knowing about Dolly Vision's program 4 years. Yeah, so yeah, he could have put a stop to it a long time ago. Thank you so much. And I mean, I said this before. I've been betrayed. I've been hurt. You know, people, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm just going to say this. People are like, well, you knew that he had a girlfriend and you went and saw him. You know what? Yeah, oh, he's definitely settled with her. I see that. I've been seeing that for a long time. But when she was like demanding receipts and made that nasty thumbnail, I mean, what else do you call it? It's kind of funny. Me with red short hair and 40 pounds bigger and lipstick all over. So apparently she thinks I don't put my lipstick on right. Oh wow, 42 years. Wow, like a cutie. You were there in the beginning for all that shits and giggles. Hi, Sean B. That's so nice. I haven't seen you in a while. That's nice of you to pop in and say hi. But and then a picture of I mean, I don't. They're kind of. Are they real or cartoony? No, I think they're real people that she found somewhere and she put them together. And Sierra's to the right of me. It doesn't look like her at all. And then she's got 5150. Like we're mental cases, right? Yes, high, locked, and loaded. He did need someone to do all that, but that's what I mean. Like, I thought she just, like, dropped by once a month even and went and mailed packages or something, you know, and was a mod, right? I was a mod. I mean, and, in all honesty, this is what I thought. I thought, okay, he's always on the internet. He does these long lives. He's alone at night till 2 or 3 in the morning. He doesn't have time for a woman in his life. This is what I thought. And, but you know, he seemed happy and he, you know, whatever. And he's funny as heck. And, you know, people watch him, and I was going through a time in my life when there was not like no humor in my life, and sadness, a lot like Team Rose. She's talked to me about it. She said Dolly Vision pulled her out of, well, not a depression, but from being as depressed. And I think he possibly did that for me. And that's why I was nearly trembling when I called his show about I can't remember what the topic, but was something about true crime, and I had notes. I wanted to be prepared, but I was a nervous wreck. I stepped outside in the hallway, outside the door, and my toes are curling and hurting on the floor, so now I'm on my knees here. but yeah, he made me feel so comfortable and welcome like everyone else. And so all the other aspects that came along with it, you know, I mean, I'm sure he could tell that I really liked him even before I was co-host. And you know, it was just 3 months, but it was 3 months. And the other thing that people need to realize and remember, before that, I was up there for like 9 months or something, almost every night. He would let me come up. I even said to him, you know, if I'm too much, you know, let me know or whatever. And he'd be like, "Oh boy," and he'd let me come up. And then he kind of wanted me to come up. I thought it seemed to me. And yeah, and then the co-host thing came, and like, are you kidding me? Like, it was utterly shocking because I remember sitting in my living room and I saw he was doing soap and everything in that back room or that little, I don't know, area. Um, and BHB and Stony Stone were up on panel with him, right? And I remember sitting there going, literally for real, you guys, going, oh, I would love to be up there and just shoot the shit and just say hi and say hi to BHB and you know and Stony Stone was a real, you know, regular and all this. I am telling you right now, not in a million years, at my age, being clear across the United States, not knowing a cotton picking thing about YouTube or anything, did I think I would ever go up there. I mean, it's kind of scary the first time. And think about it. I didn't just have my avatar up, I showed myself every time. I mean, check it out. Constant avatars. And it's a lot easier for people to speak behind a picture, right? Yeah. So anyway, like, you know, I call in, then I'm in chat, then I get to become a mod, then I'm on panel, then I'm a co-host. That's 5 things. Then he reaches out to me and I get to talk to him in very personal, intimate ways. And then, oh, that's nice. Thank you. Thank you. You're helping me get up to my threshold. And I'm blown away by all that. And then, uh, 3 months later, I find out his words. He's on and off with PJ. And after that, I was just like, okay, it's not all peaches and cream for them. I'm not stepping back. Okay, was that selfish of me? Maybe. There's people out there that do a lot worse and they weren't married. So, you know, whatever. But I bring that up again because that was 3 months later that I found out after all I had done and this and that and the other thing. You know, and then making the trip. Yes, I did meet him. Yes, we had a liaison down there. And I'm going to say it again. I saw him 3 different times. Saw him one morning through the day, and then an evening and another evening. And that's what I saw him. And, you know, I mean, I was hopeful I might be able to see him again someday. Do I think that's going to happen now? Well, no, really, no. The reason I hesitated at all is only if those two broke up. I do think he'd be willing to see me again because I know, and I'm able to sleep at night, that I didn't just like, I was just stating my truth. And Jimmy doesn't get embarrassed. You can talk about his sex life, you can talk about the size of his you know what. He just laughs it off. Honestly, he probably likes it deep down inside. And and he just goes with the flow, and he's used to crap, and he's used to women issues, and he's used to women fighting over him. He's used to this stuff, you guys, because of his past, and with Missa, and I guess I can say her name, BHB, was hurt apparently. The only thing I heard about her, I hope she doesn't get mad. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. We already know what she put out, her deposition, and that is factual, so, but, um, so I don't really think he hates me, after these past 3 or 4 days, deep in my heart, because we did really get to know each other. Um, and when I got back, it continued. Okay, I still went up on panel and all of that. My last time, though, ended up being Halloween. I didn't know that Destiny Rose was going to blurt out things and try to ruin my life, and frankly his, and the only reason she gosh darn knew is she gave me money, to buy like some gifts at the airport and stuff, and some food. I got a huge ass calzone in Seattle before I boarded the plane, because I asked the lady. I said, "Am I going to get a dinner? I'm flying clear across the United States." She said, "No, but you can bring a sandwich on, or order such and such." And I think to order food, I it was either you had to have cash. Okay, I know I should know this. I can't remember. It's my short-term memory thing. Or you couldn't use cash, and it had to be a card. But you get your peanuts, right, or whatever. So I didn't eat very much, but I had that, and yeah, and had nothing with the hour and a half layover in Arizona, and then flew literally from Arizona all the way across the United States into North Carolina or whatever, or south. I think it was north, whatever's closest to. Oh my God, not. Um, well, I said it the other day, and now I can't remember the airport that I flew into. Oh, Norfolk. Norfolk or Norfolk. I call it Norfolk, and it's probably wrong, but um, yeah, and I only had an hour and a half, I believe, there. So I really lucked out, but I didn't eat. I didn't eat anywhere except the calzone in Seattle the day before at 5. Now, I got there, and he met me at the airport, etc., and he bought me a soda, and I forgot what soda I had, but apparently, looking back at the messenger things, I had a Sprite, and he had a Pepsi, and yeah. So, but coming back, because of the hurricane and all, I came back on Monday. It was first, I was supposed to leave at 1. Then it was 3. Then it was, no, first it was leaving at 3. Then it was 5. Then it was 8. And I don't know how, but the time went by. I was just probably on my iPad and looking at things, but the time went by pretty quick. And then my plane finally left. And, or maybe it left earlier, because it's probably more than 2 hours to get to Texas. But again, maybe not. But I had to fly. I had to because of that hurricane. This is what I wanted to say the other day. My ticket was all figured out to go straight across again and not have to, because it's the landing and taking off are the most dangerous times when you fly. I always thought, as I grew up, it was while you were in the air, right? I don't know why, but that's what I thought. And so I had to go up and ask them where can I go, and it had to be Texas. And that was exciting for me in a way because even though it was just the airport, I've never been there, never been to Texas. So that was really weird. And I've said this before, it was nighttime. I got there around 10 or 10:30, and you see the lights, and I'm heading home to my kids and all. Well, not my kittens, they weren't born. She was pregnant. We thought she was a boy, so I didn't know 2 weeks after, or 4 days after I got back, she was going to have babies. But anyway, I'm looking forward to coming home, and I land, and this is what I mean about flying. I, it was the way. It's such a huge airport. It took me 20 minutes just for the thing to taxi in all this way up to wherever it was going to stop, and that was weird. But I didn't know there were so many planes in the sky. What? 2 or 3 minutes behind me, and so when we're turning right on the tarmac, getting up to the dock, or not dock, or loading off place, whatever it's called, um, I looked out the window, and I'm not kidding. There's two planes coming down out of the sky, two more taxiing behind us slowly to get to their doorways. And then as we keep moving, I looked up into the sky, and there was one way up. And then when we were taxiing and getting closer, I looked out the window again, and there were five behind me. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm kind of afraid to fly anymore. I don't know. That freaked me right out. And then, I use coupons too. And then it was really weird, you guys. I get in there. I had my contacts in, thank God. And I had to read the signs and just do it, right? And I didn't have to worry about my luggage. I just had my one pull-on, huge ass backpack, which is like really stuffed with stuff now because I got some things for my adult children. I got some pens with whales and not lobsters, crabs on the end. They're really, really cute. And I got myself a bottle opener that says Virginia on it, and I got myself a Virginia sparkling kind of keychain thing for myself. I mean, things are expensive in those gift shops, as any of you know. So, they want you to buy this and that and everything, a cup, a magnet, a this and that. Well, granted, I had some money, but not that much. By the time I got home, I had, and this is no lie, I had just enough money once I got off the shuttle from Seattle. This is the long ass trip I took. I had to take a taxi because it was 12:31 in the morning when I had to call the cab, and I had a $10 bill left. Yeah. And so I gauged it all just right. My shuttle was 100 there. No, it was 50 there and 50 back, so the whole round trip was only 100. And it was a really nice, huge touring traveling bus. And that was nice, cushy seats and all this stuff. But what I wanted to say was when I was in Texas and I had to get my next flight, and that time I had wasn't any 3 hours, and it wasn't even an hour and a half. I believe it was an hour. It was pretty darn quick. It could have been less. It could have been 45 minutes. So I was a little nervous. So I didn't want to miss my flight or get lost or get whatever. I had to get on this to get to AA or something. it's called like some kind of express thing, and you step on it. It's quicker than the conveyor belt things, right? And you step on it, and that thing flies, I think 60 miles an hour just to get you to where you need to be. And I had my suitcase, and there was a pilot on there. He was in his pilot gear, and he was hanging on to a pole, and I was leaning against the wall because I thought I could. The thing took off. I almost fell over. He said, you might want to hang on to the pole. And I was like, so I hung on to the pole. And even hanging on to the pole, I was being like jerked around like this. It's not even like the regular subways you see in New York where you're just bouncing a little bit and you got to hang on. No, this thing was whipping. And there's a name for it, and I don't know what it is, but some kind of something train. Anyway, I caught my flight in plenty of time, and I was like, oh my God, okay, I've lifted and landed now, lifted in Seattle, landed in Arizona, lifted in Arizona, landed in Carolina, lifted in Carolina, landed in Norfolk. So all those times, and I survived, and then I lifted in Norfolk and landed in the Carolina area going back, lifted again, landed into Texas, thank God, safely with all those darn planes, and then lifted again in Texas and landed in Seattle. And the other thing, and I've shared this before, and like, I'm not embellishing here or making anything up. I don't even like doing that. I just like to talk about truth and be real with details, because then you can sort of sense what it's like to go through it and maybe be there. The thing about having to fly into Texas, and it was the only plane available and blah, blah, blah at that time to get me home, is, and the other route, I would have had to wait just a couple hours to take the shuttle bus thing into my town, which is 2 hours away, is I had to literally, from when I got off the plane at about, well, it was another 2 hours or so into it from Texas to Seattle, so it was around midnight, clear until 8:30 in the morning did the shuttle bus come. And I mean, I had no choice. And I'm thinking, what on earth am I going to do all night by myself, as a female with my luggage in Seattle, where I don't even hang out and rarely even go. I don't drive. I don't make trips there. My town is by the bay, 2 miles south. And well, I've said it before. I'm just going to say it. Bellingham. I'm in Bellingham. And so anyway, what on earth am I going to do? So, I got something to eat. And that was the other thing. Shops. I thought those places stayed up all night. Not stayed up, stayed open. No, they don't. And it makes sense. They got to, go to bed and get some rest too. So I'm trying to remember. I think I got like some chips out of a vending machine. I think I might have been able to get a donut somewhere. And I felt really thirsty. I didn't want any coffee or anything. I got a soda of some sort. And for just those 3 things, it was like $30 or something. It's just outrageously expensive to buy anything at an airport. It really is. And again, I hadn't flown since, Okinawa, from Vermont all the way, and then the Okinawa thing, and then back. That was when Joe and I were married, and I was 24. But the last time I had flown, I was 33 plus 6. I was 39. Or no, Parker was a baby. He was a baby. So I was 33. It was the last time I did a big jet thing. When we showed my grandparents my baby son. So, the reason I'm talking about all this is I went through a lot to see that man. And that's why I can say I had the best time of my life because um A, I did, but B, he knew how much I was going through and was willing to pay and take my time and leave my kids and my cats and do all that to meet the man. And he made it special. He made it a good he made it a good it's okay if people say negative things about me. I mean, you guys, it's in the past, but I know back then that he was kind of impressed. I asked him when we were saying goodbye Sunday night. We were sitting on the end of the bed, and I said, "So has anybody flown this far to meet you like that?" And he said, "No, not this far." So yeah. Anyway, the thing is, it was 3 and then it was 5 and I was finally able to board and I was so exhausted but so excited to get home. I didn't even take a nap on the darn bus. And it stops, right? Oh God, we're in Seattle and then it's stopping in Everett and then it's stopping in a town before Everett I've never even heard of and then another town, another, you know what I mean? And then finally we're on our way on I-5. But then it has to stop in like Tulalip and Marysville as I'm getting closer. And then finally I'm like 35, 45 minutes. Oh, and then Burlington, Washington. And then I'm almost home. And yeah, and it's daylight, right? Oh wait, I said I took a cab home at no, I took a cab home in the afternoon. It was around 11, but I had $10. And so, yeah. And I walked in the house, and Shaylin had held the fort down really well for 4 days. There wasn't stuff all over. I didn't expect her to clean, but just keep stuff picked up. And I called them, by the way. I called them every day on my trip there, on it back, and while I was in Virginia, 3 times a day. It wasn't just once in the evening, oh, how you doing, or whatever. No, it's 3 times a day. And my sister knew, and my son knew, they could call me anytime for any little thing, right? So, oh, I also at the airport picked up a big thing of that caramel popcorn because it was really packaged tight and they were big. And I got all 3 of us one of those. So I don't know how I fit it all in my backpack. But I had a pulling suitcase and a huge backpack and then a little black slip-on purse thing. And it was intense. I'm not a traveler anymore, so, but it was well worth it. And that's why, I said on one of my lives, or on my live, and even in one of my thumbnail thing, I hope you can forgive me for blurting this out, but she's just not going to call me after 2.5 years delusional. I mean, she still will, because this is the thing. Her followers and herself have to. You have to be in denial to actually probably cope. So I get it. Okay, I get it. But I'm not lying. So anyway, I didn't mean to go on and on about this, but this is what I'm really excited. I'm really excited that video that I showed in full, and it was not hotel number 2 suites, it was home number 2 suites. Someone was asking me during my live, and I didn't get the name right. That was in Minneapolis that the ICE agents were trying to sleep in. And their families were there. It was so weird. People were coming down with their pillows. It's on my, is it my very last live? Yeah, it is. And yeah, things started getting pretty intense. It all started because one of the agents, it looks like, ordered food, DoorDash or something, and he's looking around and he grabs the bag. The first door shut, as you notice in the video, but the next ones had locked him out. And did the Minnesotans, the Vikings, I'm going to call them, did they storm at him and scare him and threaten to kill him? Frankly, like all those thugs at the Capitol on the 6th? No, no. In fact, they didn't even menacingly go like this. Just 2 or 3 noticed they could get closer, and then the others stood behind. And it wasn't hundreds and hundreds of people. I saw it. I would dare say it was probably 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 75 at the most gathered around, you know. But guess what? Kilvino, that's what I call him. He's done. He's done there anyway. He was taken by a court order. Okay, he didn't just bow down. Now, people are mad though still, right, in Minnesota, because not all of his so-called ICE people left, but most. I just couldn't believe it. When I saw that last night, I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm just going to show that really quick. And I'm going to show another little video. They're only like 15 minutes or something. One's 10. A couple of them are 4. I have 4 videos. And then that's it. And then I'm probably going to just say hi to who's in chat and then end my live and not even talk about the videos because it's getting close to dinner time here for our family in Washington State. So let me get this set up. See if this is burning hot anymore. And it's not too bad. I'm gonna close this so it's dark so you can see the picture better. I do this. Thank you again, Cutie Pie, or is it Cutie? Now I can't remember. Sweet Cutie, Cutie Pie. I'll have to look it up. But your first name's Jennifer. Now, why is that doing that? Why is it leaning like that? Oh, I guess it's supposed to. All right, let me turn this off. And I'm prepared. I know what to pull up this time. And when I said it took me 10 minutes and all this and that and the other thing, no, it took me 5 to get that one video. I was relieved because I looked at the timing of how long it took. All right. Now I purposely don't just film the protests and just show what's on everything. Now, I do show some of the news channels. Shoot, I forgot to put my disclaimer in the copy paste it. So, Mary Jane Doe, are you still in here? Can you let me know if you're in here? And if so, can you put the copyright disclaimer in for me? Let me do this. Sit over here. Truth Seeker, I did. You did? Thank you. Thank you so much. That's really nice. Well, I know how to copy paste it into the description part of these lives ahead of time, and I plumb forgot. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show, and again, they're not long. Okay, I don't like to look at long news things or conferences any more than anyone else. This one is where Trump actually talks. It was a few days ago, about 3. And this is to show you that how upset a lot of the Republicans are with what happened. And that's for people that have no clue, which I didn't till I saw this. So when advertisements come on, I'm going to try to mute really quickly. Okay, so we got this.
Calling for a full investigation into the killing of Alex Preddy by Border Patrol agents in Minneapolis.
What we're seeing on TV is causing deep concerns over federal tactics and accountability.
Senator Bill Cassidy calling the situation disturbing, writing the credibility of ICE and DHS are at stake. Senator Lisa Murkowski adding, ICE agents do not have carte blanche in carrying out their duties. Others taking issue with how quickly the Trump administration made an assessment, labeling Preddy a domestic terrorist without providing any evidence. John Mitnick, who served in President Trump's first term and helped establish the Department of Homeland Security, criticizing the agency, saying, I'm enraged and embarrassed by DHS's lawlessness, fascism, and cruelty. But
okay, why did that happen? Oh, see, they just stick these ads in. And I'm not allowed to show them or... Okay. And now there's no volume? Oh. And now it's small.
Loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple.
Overnight, President Trump telling the Wall Street Journal he doesn't like any shooting. Adding, quote, but I don't like it when somebody goes into a protest and he's got a very powerful, fully loaded gun with 2 magazines loaded up with bullets also. That doesn't play good either. It's a stark contrast to what many Republicans, including the president, had to say about Kyle Rittenhouse, seen here carrying an assault-style rifle through Kenosha, Wisconsin in 2020, before opening fire, killing 2 men. He was acquitted on the charges. President Trump called him a very nice young man. Minnesota officials say Preddy was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry, a right protected under the Second Amendment. Republican Congressman Thomas Massey posting, carrying a firearm is not a death sentence. It's a constitutionally protected God-given right. The NRA even speaking out, posting, responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making generalizations and demonizing law-abiding citizens. The president's predecessors calling for it all to stop. Former President Barack Obama said the shooting should be a wake-up call to every American. And former President Bill Clinton stating, at every turn the people in charge have lied to us, told us not to believe what we've seen with our own eyes. And over on Capitol Hill, Senate Democrats are now trying to take a stand, saying they will oppose a Department of Homeland Security funding bill that could lead to a partial government shutdown by the end of the week, which means TSA agents and FEMA response would be impacted. But regardless, it will do nothing to stop the $75 billion that Republicans have already passed and allocated toward funding ICE.
Okay, well, yeah, but we're not going to give any more. At least the Democrats. Now.
Joining me now, Paul Perez, the president of the National Border Patrol Council, which represents more than 16,000.
Okay, so now I'm going to pull up another one. That one was really quick. And this one. Oh. Is this one. Okay, this is pretty good.
The legal fight over preserving evidence from the shooting of Alex Preddy heads to the courtroom today.
Just one of many legal cases slated today stemming from the surge of federal agents here in the Twin Cities.
What's happening, you guys? I didn't have this hard of a time yesterday. Oh my God, what the heck? So sorry. This is what happens when you show from one iPad to another, but I didn't have issues like this. These stupid commercials coming in. I'm not asking for this. It's insanity. And now they stick all these commercials like, you know what I mean? So I don't give up though. I go right back to it and just try to do it again. Right here.
The legal fight over preserving evidence from the shooting of Alex Preddy heads to the courtroom today.
Just one of many.
See that? Okay, it's an ad. Just a second here. It's nice they take
cases slated today stemming from the surge of federal agents here in the Twin Cities. To get a better understanding of all of this, political science professor David Schultz joins us now, kind of unpacking everything that's been unfolding. And there's a lot to unpack. David, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You guys, I'm trying to make, there we go, the screen bigger, and it's being redonkulous.
Thank you. You're right. There's a lot.
There is. Okay, let's start with what's happening soon in the next hour. A motion hearing at the federal courthouse. Attorney General Keith Ellison suing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and the Trump administration, calling the ICE operation in Minnesota illegal. Now, the 10th Amendment we expect to be brought up a lot today in court. Kind of detail what that looks like. What exactly does the 10th Amendment say?
Okay, first off, generally under the Constitution, what's called the Supremacy Clause makes federal law the highest law of the land, and if there's a conflict between state and federal, Fed generally wins. However, the 10th Amendment basically says powers that are not given to the national government are reserved to the states, and the Supreme Court over time repeatedly has said that the national government has limits in terms of what it can tell states to do, and that, I'm going to use the language of the courts, the federal government cannot coerce or force states to do certain types of things. And what Keith Ellison is going to be arguing, our Attorney General, is that the ICE operations, along with other things that it's doing, are an effort to coerce or force the state of Minnesota to change its policies regarding cooperation on immigration, a whole bunch of different things. And so that's the core argument, that states possess some independent legal authority that limits them or prevents them from being, again, coerced by national government.
David, do we expect to see any movement at all in this case today?
Well, what's happening here is that Ellison's arguing it on the merits, but he's also asking for what's called a temporary restraining order to basically say, while the case is actually being fully argued out, we would like ICE operations to halt. It's possible, but I think it's not likely today for a sort of a preliminary decision. I mean, a judge might say, I'll take everything under consideration and might have an answer by the end of the day in the next couple of days. Again, I don't want to rule out that possibility on what's called the TRO, temporary restraining order, but I also wouldn't guarantee that we would hear anything today.
Sure. We know a lot of Minnesota lawmakers, including the Secretary of State, pushing back on a request that came from the weekend, Attorney General Pam Bondi. She's asking for access to state voter rolls. Legally, Steve Simon says no. Legally, does the state have the right to withhold that from the federal government?
Yes, it does at this point. Short of there being an actual subpoena, perhaps for, let's say, some kind of criminal investigation. But she's asking for the states to turn this over. And actually, her letter to Steve Simon actually strengthened the Attorney General's case. Because in that letter, she said that we will stop the ICE operations if you'll give us this information. Basically, sort of saying, give us what we want, or we're going to continue these kind of operations. And if I were Keith Ellison, I'm speaking like a law professor now and as an attorney, if I were Keith Ellison, I would say that's further evidence that the national government is trying to coerce us, force us into doing things that we don't have to do.
And David, we know a growing frustration certainly with ICE operations.
This was today.
To a government shutdown with midnight deadline on this Friday. Do we expect Washington lawmakers to weigh in on the funding for DHS and maybe hold that
This is today, you guys.
As far as getting the government funded again?
Well, that's what the Democrats seem to be saying at this point. There's an impasse here. The question becomes, are the Democrats willing at this point to say that we're willing to risk maybe another partial government shutdown over the ICE operations? That's a really big political question that I think has to be raised by the parties, but it also gets to a question of how much are the Democrats, and I'm going to say the Republicans, and the Trump administration willing to say that we need to put the country first as opposed to partisan differences and not let the government shut down. What's that old expression? It takes two to tango. Here, it takes many parties to reach agreement, and that's what we're going to see over the next few days.
Right. All right, David Schultz, as always, really appreciate your insight and your time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. So I wanted to show that, you guys, to let people know that we have rights. We have rights. We have the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment. Okay, so let me find the other two little ones. And let's see.
Kristi Noem is a despicable, corrupt, pathological liar. We've seen her slander not just one, but two American citizens, patriotic Americans who were killed without justification on the streets of Minneapolis in the last few weeks. She's deeply unqualified. She never should have been confirmed to begin with by Senate Republicans. And House Democrats have called for her to be fired immediately. And in the event that she is not terminated, we are prepared to initiate impeachment proceedings against her in the House of Representatives.
Well, the president has given no indication that he's ready to fire her or even thinking about it. And you, as I don't need to tell you, are in the minority. So how do you do that? I mean, what can you do? Have you spoken to the speaker? Do you have any sense that there are Republicans who would stand by you in an impeachment process?
Have to build a case so that we can convince a handful of Republicans, as we have done on other issues, that the time is now to hold the Department of Homeland Security accountable for their behavior. They are conducting themselves like a paramilitary organization, as opposed to protecting the health, the safety, and the well-being of the American people. They are violently targeting American citizens and law-abiding immigrant families, and it's unacceptable, it's unconscionable, and it's un-American. We're prepared to hold hearings, as we've done in other instances, and use every tool available to make sure that Kristi Noem is held accountable. But even more importantly, of course, we support the effort by Leader Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats to force common sense changes to the Department of Homeland Security so that these law enforcement agencies are behaving like every other law enforcement agency in the country, as opposed to like a paramilitary organization, which is what the American people have seen on the streets of Minneapolis.
Are there conversations going on with Republicans to make that happen? Do you see any reasonable expectation that the government is not going to shut down at the end of the week?
What has been proposed by Senate Democrats, which is something that we, of course, strongly support, is that there are bipartisan bills related to other aspects of the government that should move forward to avoid an extended shutdown in other areas. The issue before us is making sure that ICE, of course, is brought under control in ways that taxpayer dollars are not being spent to kill American citizens or brutalize everyday Americans. We know taxpayer dollars should actually be spent to make life more affordable for the American people. It's shocking to me that over a year has passed since Donald Trump was inaugurated. This guy promised to lower costs on day one. Costs haven't gone down. They've gone up. They're ripping health care away from the American people. And now mass federal agents on American streets are killing American citizens in cold blood. That's all unacceptable. And we really need to make some changes to change direction here.
I understand, Leader Jeffries, that there are things you firmly believe, and I think many Democrats believe with you, believe should be done. But the real question again is, what can be done? What are you willing to do? What can you do?
Well, as we've done in the past, we're going to make our case to the American people. There were a lot of folks who never believed that the Epstein files would be released in a way that would be forced by the Congress in a bipartisan way over the objection of Donald Trump. We passed legislation to be able to do that, force Donald Trump to sign it And now, of course, we've got to compel the Department of Justice to actually comply with a bipartisan law that was enacted. We passed a law in the House of Representatives, sent it over to the Senate to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for 3 years. Nobody thought that was possible, but all 213 Democrats, joined by 17 Republicans, were able to get that done. Abraham Lincoln once made the observation, public sentiment is everything. With it, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. And so our goal right now is to continue to make the case to the American people who know that the behavior of ICE and other law enforcement agencies within the Department of Homeland Security is immoral and it's illegal, and it's not what they've signed up for. The Trump administration has gone way too far, and public pressure can lead to decisive action in the Congress, as we have seen over the last several months.
Some of that public pressure is coming from pulpits. Newark Cardinal Joseph Tobin is urging church members to tell lawmakers to vote against additional funding for immigration agencies. Here's what he said.
If we are serious about putting our faith in action, we need to say no. How will you say no? In this week when an appropriations bill is going to be considered in Congress, will you contact your Congress representative, your congressional representatives, the senators and representative from your district? We ask them for the love of God and the love of human beings, which can't be separated. Vote against renewing funding for such a lawless organization.
Will you and your caucus vote against it? Is this, as he's presenting it, a moral imperative as well as a political one?
Democrats strongly opposed the Homeland Security funding appropriation bill when it was before us in the House, and if it comes back to us without the necessary changes to rein in a lawless organization and actually protect the health, the safety, and the well-being of the American people, we'll take the same position. And we join with our Senate colleagues in that way. It was a powerful statement by a highly distinguished member of the clergy, and we know that faith without works is dead. And we have faith that we can bring about a better society and make America the best version of herself as we move forward, pushing back against the corruption and extremism that's being unleashed by the Trump administration day after day after day. But it's going to take work. And it's actually all of us. It's elected officials, it's community-based organizations, it's the American people, civil rights organizations, certainly members of the clergy and the faith community, all banding together to address these preventable tragedies that have occurred and ensure that they never happen again here in the United States of America.
Well, we heard him say that ICE is a lawless organization, and the death of Alex Preddy has changed a lot of people's minds. President Trump last hour was asked about the killing of Alex Preddy. I want to play exactly what he said. Do you believe that Alex Preddy's death was justified?
Well, you know, we're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
Do you believe there will be an honorable and thorough investigation? And what do you make of the president saying he is going to be watching over it?
No reason to believe that the Trump administration, or Kristi Noem, which is why she needs to go, will be able to preside over a credible investigation. Do we think that the Trump Department of Injustice is going to actually conduct a credible investigation? These extremists and political hacks at the Department of Justice have been weaponizing the criminal justice system against Donald Trump's enemies. So what we need here is an independent investigation conducted by state and local authorities. And we'll continue to call upon every single officer who has broken the law as it relates to what ICE and other parts of the Department of Homeland Security have been doing in Minneapolis and throughout the country. They should be criminally investigated and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. That's consistent with who we are as a nation. Nobody's above the law. And ICE needs to conduct itself like every other law enforcement agency in the country. Focus on protecting the health, the safety, and the well-being of the American people, not killing them.
I hear your frustration. I hear your pushback, but what good is anger and pushback if it's not coupled with clear action? For the people who are watching, not just Democrats, but Americans who are frustrated as you are by what they're seeing, what is the clear action you believe you as a party, you as a House and Senate Democrats can take that isn't just words?
Clear action that's in front of us is already underway, right? It's legislative action. Listen, we've said that we are in a forefront battle. It's legislative, it's the appropriations process, it's legal, and it's moral. And we've got to press our case in every single lane. But in terms of the legislative lane, where there are clearly changes that need to be made to the manner in which ICE conducts itself legislatively, we're on that case. And we'll continue to press our case. In terms of the appropriations process, we are working with our Senate Democratic colleagues under the leadership of Chuck Schumer, who has taken a strong position as it relates to what needs to happen before the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill passes. That's concrete action in the arena that we're in. And of course, we're working with Democratic Attorney Generals across the country and state and local authorities to make sure that investigations occur.
You're so funny,
that
Sierra.
the behavior that is illegal that we're seeing coming out of the Department of Homeland Security is challenged in federal courts, as is being done to make sure that everyone is held accountable. And we're going to continue to work with faith leaders, members of the clergy, civil rights organizations, democracy protection organizations to ensure that we are making the moral case to America that this has to end.
He's so smart. But as Sierra would say, cute and smart, right? It's so funny. Oh, okay. Now, oh my gosh, I've got Tulip rubbing up all over on me here, but I don't want cat hair all over my shirt. All right, Tulips? Tulips! I think there's one more I want to play, but I'm really not sure. So let me check it out. And I'm not going to be on here too much longer. Yeah. So I'm glad Trump and Walz had a productive call, right? Over the ICE operations in Minnesota. And here we go. Yeah, I'm going to play this one last one. And oh my God, what's happening? Oh, I accidentally played Queen Bee. How do I stop that? Oh, holy crap. Oh my God, you guys. Okay. Bear with me. I gotta go over her Queen, can you hear that? Queen Bee's notification came down, and then I went to swipe it up, and I ended up hitting her channel while I'm live. Can you hear the music, Sierra? Sierra, quick, tell me. Can you hear the music? Yes or no? Queen Bee's live. I gotta get over right or anything. Could you hear the music? Oh my gosh, you guys. That's insanity. All right. So, here we go. One more. And then I need to make dinner. Where is it? Right here. Did you like that music, Tulips?
Border Patrol commander and some agents are expected to leave Minneapolis as early as today. The departure of Commander Greg Bovino comes as President Trump dispatched Border Czar Tom Homan to Minnesota to take charge of ICE operations. Bovino has faced mounting criticism over the fatal shooting of 37-year-old ICU nurse Alex Preddy by Border Patrol agents and his public defense of the shooting. So let's bring in Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George joining us now live from Capitol Hill. And Joe, is this a move by the Trump administration in an effort to de-escalate? Basically, I guess you could call it a red-hot situation in Minneapolis?
Clearly, I mean, we should be clear, though, at the top, Holly. I mean, emotions are still raw here. Divisions are still raw. You have not just Democrats calling for investigations, but increasingly more conservatives are as well. There's a chance of a partial government shutdown at the end of the week because of the death of Alex Preddy. So emotions are raw here. And in the immediate aftermath of this shooting, the second shooting in as many weeks in Minnesota, there was a real question as to which direction the Trump administration was going to take this. I mean, was the president going to declare the Insurrection Act and deploy the military to the streets of Minneapolis, or would the president try and bring down the temperature a bit in the room, to use that analogy? It's clear that the president wants this de-escalated as best as he can. Let's start with Gregory Bovino, who he is. Mr. Bovino is someone who's really been the face of the operation, the immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota and in other states over the course of this second Trump administration. He's the one giving the interviews. He's the one behind the microphones at significant press conferences. So for the fact that the Associated Press is reporting that he will leave the state, that he will leave Minneapolis at least today, is noteworthy. I don't know if it's necessarily enough to suddenly end the protests or prevent a government shutdown, but it is a step. And he's being replaced essentially in Minnesota for the time being with Tom Homan, who's on the ground there this morning. He's the so-called border czar to President Trump. He's a bit more respected on more corners of the law enforcement community. Clearly, the Trump administration thinks having Homan in a position of command is going to help, again, bring down the temperature a bit. One of the big events we're watching this Tuesday today is Mr. Homan's meeting with the mayor of Minneapolis. That'll be unfolding a little bit later today. The president confirmed that yesterday. What comes out of that meeting? Does any more change happen? I think it's particularly noteworthy on this front. The president's tone on this story has also been very noteworthy. On Truth Social, we could pull up a couple of them, I think. You know, the president talked about his conversation with the mayor of Minneapolis. I just had a very good telephone conversation with Mayor Jacob Fry of Minneapolis. Lots of progress is being made. Tom Homan will be meeting with him tomorrow in order to continue the discussion. Regarding Governor Tim Walz, and remember, Walz and President Trump, intense political rivalry going back to the 2024 election. The president saying on Truth Social, Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, President Trump wrote. And we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. So clearly, this rhetoric, this tone, represents an effort by the president to try and bring down the temperature here a bit. Will it be enough? What else happens today? Again, one of the many storylines we're watching on this Tuesday, Holly.
And do we know how this may filter to other cities and other states where we've seen a heavy presence of ICE agents and even Border Patrol agents there?
I think this is where, if we can connect the dots a bit to the debate unfolding beneath the columns where I'm at this morning on Capitol Hill, and the chance of a partial government shutdown this weekend. Democrats say, okay, you want our votes? Republicans need the votes of some Senate Democrats to avoid a partial government shutdown. Enact some changes to policies and procedures by ICE, by Border Patrol. What do those efforts look like? What would the Trump administration be willing to agree to? that's where it's a bit unknown. Republicans, though, do appear to be more open in negotiating on this particular front than they were, let's say, with healthcare subsidies in the fall when we entered the longest shutdown in American history. Some ideas that have been floated involve things like making sure that ICE officers, immigration agents, they follow warrants, judges' orders to the T, that there's no real gray area, open interpretation. Other Democrats have criticized the use of masks hovering up of federal immigration officers. That if you listen to protesters and go to these communities, oftentimes you'll hear it's the fact individuals are masked when they're conducting these immigration enforcement operations. It's just creating more fear and anxiety. Again, what would Republicans be willing to agree to? What would President Trump be willing to agree to perhaps impact immigration operations nationwide? I mean, remember, President Trump, this is his signature issue. I mean, this is the issue that Republicans want to run on in the midterm elections that they believe will be able to allow them to keep at least one chamber here on Capitol Hill. They believe immigration is the issue here. They're not going to stop their operations, but can they be altered in a way to appease some Democrats, to bring down the temperature a bit? That is going to be a big story in the next 48 hours or so. Remember, the partial government shutdown happens late Friday night.
And Joe, let's talk about that. What are the chances that we will have another shutdown? Because another big issue for Americans is the economy. And they feel like prices aren't coming down and things aren't getting more affordable, which was the other mandate of the Trump administration. So is this going to add more pain on top of everything that we're seeing with ICE and immigration?
Well, a partial government shutdown that lasts a few days, limited impact we've known over the years on the economy. But what's at stake here? About 78% of the federal government could shut down Friday night at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. So this is significant. You're talking not just the Department of Homeland Security, which this is all about, right? Democrats want changes at the Department of Homeland Security, but Education Department, Transportation Department, Health and Human Services, housing programs could be impacted by a partial government shutdown. The Pentagon is impacted here as well. So you're talking about large amounts of the federal government potentially impacted by this partial government shutdown. Democrats, their vote to fund DHS, Department of Homeland Security, ICE, Border Patrol, last week it was a tough vote for them, but we thought the risk of a shutdown was low. The shooting in Minnesota changed everything, and now Democrats are demanding concessions. They're demanding changes. Can Tom Homan negotiate some changes in Minnesota? Would that be enough for Democrats? Could President Trump issue some directives that would change it?
Sierra.
Remember, it's easier to avoid a government shutdown by having the Trump administration do some things that Democrats agree to than having to pass any bill or law to change rules and procedures. Because guess who's not here this week? The House of Representatives isn't here this week. So if Democrats in the Senate and Republicans in the Senate come up with some compromise bill to change things, well, it would need to be voted on the House, and they're not here to vote on it, and they want to be back until the weekend at the earliest, and you'd be in the midst of a partial government shutdown at this point. So that's the politics of the moment. This story's been changing hour by hour since the shooting this weekend. We'll see where it takes us on this Tuesday, Holly.
All right, Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George for us. Lots more questions for you, so we'll see you in the top of the next hour.
Scripps News. See, I watch Live Now, Fox. I don't just follow NBC, CNN, ABC, NBS, NBS. Is that one? CBS. I said NBS. Why is your back to me, Tulip? Are you mad? Are you mad? Don't be mad. All right. Oh, he's up on the bed. All right.